Today we are going to talk about one of my favorite art. People and everybody now is considering what they call street art, like real art. And for me, from the beginning, it was really art. You know, what I used to do, because I travel a lot, what I used to do is to, when I'm in the city, is to just to look at the walls of the different places and see what street artists are drawing or painting on the walls. So one of the special one, because you have different kind of street art, but one of the very strong one is, and forgive my French accent, graffiti. So what I want you to do today is to create, because one of my friends gave me the chart of his way to draw the letters. His name is Toon. So this is the chart that I'm having about the letters Toon create. I really want you to look at this chart, and you see in red you have different number. The number one is some building. So you draw buildings behind the letters. The number 2 is the spray that graffiti artists are using, because this is the work they do quickly, you know, like shh. So they use spray. And on the bottom you can see a face, because not all the graffiti artists, but Toon used to draw his face every time when he finished to do some graffiti, everywhere where he's going, because he's from Switzerland, and he also traveled in different places to draw his graffiti. So I want you to look at these. Take a time for the look, because everything is about what you see. The second step is going to be to find a piece of paper that you're going to use. Me, I really want you to go to something large enough to get the space to draw your first name. I don't want your last name. Your first name, you draw it. Behind your last name, you draw building. Somewhere in your drawing, you draw the spray. And somewhere in your drawing, you're going to draw your self-portrait, your face. So you look at me and you feel like what she's talking about. So I'm going to show you some sample, some of the work made by some of my students. So this is Kevin. We create this graffiti using the same chart and putting his name. And for him, the building, they were going from up to down. So this is a way to do it. There is another way is, and I think Maya, she began to do this, having the letter of her name and playing with the building behind the name. Another one, because she had a lot of space, and I think, Prejuni, she put her first name twice. If you have a large piece of paper that you can do it, why not? And the building behind the first one, and the building behind the second one. So you have many examples that you can use. But once again, don't forget that it's all about your creativity. This is very important for you to feel free. As soon as you can control the way the letters are done, use the space that you are having, be creative, and be also quick, because graffiti is not something you can take a ruler, cross, and erase. No, we don't use eraser. We are going to use a pencil, because we have some pencil, and after we're going to use a marker, but we decide not to use eraser. So let's think about the way we are going to work on this. If you select, you have I'm giving you the choice. If you can get different size, you can go to the smaller piece and just too bigger. If you have a very long name like Nabrati, anyway, or my first name in France is Véronique, so it's a long name. No, it's take a large piece of paper from the beginning. But we can begin with that size, and once again I go back to this and I take a time to look at the letter. First things to do is to write your name on the piece of paper. Of course you know your name, but what is important for you is to figure out each letter of your name. So let's say Vicky. I'm gonna write Vicky, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters on Vicky. So 6 letters. I go to my paper here. I'm gonna organize my paper to have these 6 letters and have them big enough for me to be sure that I'm going to use all that space. So now, this piece of paper is also helping you to trace the letter, because once again, I'm asking you to look at what you have, to look at the chart. So I go to look at where is the V, and I see the V here. The V of Vicky is here, so I'm gonna trace and try to do the same kind of V, but doesn't need to be exactly the same, never. But it's just to give me an idea about the letter. It's very important. So I have the V, my V. Where is the I? The I is here. So I'm gonna trace and try to draw an I. After the I have the C. So the C is here. I have the K. The K is here. So you go to each letter. You try to reproduce them, but reproduce is not going to say do exactly the same, but just to give you an idea about the size and about the shape. So I have another I, so I'm gonna go to another I here. And where is the I? Okay, and now at the end I have an E. So I'm going to go to an E. Once again, this is very important for me to figure out what I want to do. Doesn't mean I have to do exactly the same, it's just a help. So let's go. I see, once again, I'm gonna use the space that I'm having. I'm gonna help myself with the chart that I have here, and I will go to try to use the space that I'm having. So, using the pencil and keeping in my mind that I don't erase anything. It has to be done like, okay, so here, how can I do the V? V, 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 V. V of Vicky, okay, ooh, okay. So I gonna use the space and I go like, so I did my V. I'm gonna use that space. So behind my name, I'm going to build building, or under the, why not? So I have the V. Okay, here I see that the I can be any. So I go with my I, and because I want to make something very special, so I'm gonna do the I. I don't see any top, but this is something I can add. So. Okay, I have the C here, so I want to build my C. Go quick, go, like, don't feel like it has to be the same. You do it quickly. So my C is done. So now I want to do the K, and the K looks a little strange over here. So I'm gonna try. Okay. So this is my K. V-I-C-K-I. So I go to another I. E. Because I don't have a lot of space here, so I'm going to do a E, a very strange E, but this is my E. So I have my first name, and when you look at here, it's not exactly the same, but I have this tune fashion way to do things. You know, I saw one day, I was just watching that what they were doing, it was a night, and the quickest way, you know, like, so I feel like I did it. So now I have the space that I'm gonna use now to draw a building behind. Why building? The idea of the building is because it's street art. It's art that is made in cities. But you can also, when you go to the country, you can see some graffitis in different places. But our idea is really to create this art for the city. So I'm gonna build my building, and I do it on the way that is going to be houses, different houses in the back of my name. I do windows. Once again, I do the things very quickly because it's not because I don't have time, it's just because the idea of doing it is very, very quick. But you are going to take time because we are in the art class, so we have to do the things on a certain way. We have to take a time to just build everything. I'm going to use a marker. I'm going to be just careful because this marker I'm not the one to. So now this is very important because we have to be able to give a sense of the letter you just drew. So you have to trace all the letter with your black marker. At the time you're tracing, you can also do the shadow. You see all the black here is our shadows. But you do or you don't. This is what you want to do. And this is also something I'm asking you to do quickly. But take a time to do it well. So I go here, I trace everywhere. Yes. And so remember when I show you, so I trace all my letters here. When I show you this sharp, the number 2 was for you to see the spray. I want you to draw the spray and to go to all what we talk about. So I'm taking one already done. The spray is on this side. You have to draw the spray. But this one, draw 2 spray because it use different colors. So you can just draw 1 spray, but what you have to know if they have different spray with different colors, because the way they're working is just spray the colors. So you have the black to do the things quickly, but you also have different colors. And by the way, yesterday I saw a movie where it was very interesting to see that one of the graffiti artist was putting his, in fact it was a young lady, she was putting her mark with pink, because pink is not the usual color for what I learned yesterday, and everybody knows that she was a very special artist. So because she has her face drawn quickly with pink. So you have here, you have blue, yellow, red, green, purple. So you have the many of these spray from different colors. Over here is not, I don't see the face, but right here you can see the face, and also me, I can draw my face right here on the corner. So I'm gonna draw the small myself here with my very short hair. So I do it with my pencil, but on the same way I'm gonna trace with the black marker. So everything you draw, you always have to trace it with the black marker. And after that, you have to color. Here we're gonna use markers from different colors to color everything. Like I told you, for us it's gonna be like this different color because we don't work with the spray. When this is done, self-portrait is done, the spray, one of the spray, just to remind that we are using spray, is to somewhere on your drawing. So I'm going to continue to show some of the work for you to figure out the different way to do the building. The building can be just behind each letters. Like here on the J, we have this building that is supporting the J. And here the building is supporting the M, is for Jemaya. She has the building supporting, and she still has to do more, but it's not finished. Here we have something that I feel like is very interesting. This artist, this young artist create, he put different spray because he's working on different spray. So we have like 1, 2, 3 spray and the face. So, but because he has a very short first name, Iman, 1, 2, 3, 4 letters. So what did he do? He create this with the 3 times his name. So you can also play, if your first name is a short first name, you can play with the letter of your first name, and you can do it like 3 times. I have another one here that I want you to, this one I show you, I think I already show you the one I want to show. Yeah, no, this one is here. So here she also doesn't have a lot of letter on her first name, so she was really playing with some building behind some letters, but not everywhere. So what is important to know is we do the things, we take the time to do it, but we do it quickly. No eraser, no time to not take time to go again and try again. No, you look at the chart, the letters. It's like an inspiration. This is your inspiration, and this is what you do. When all is finished, like with the marker, the black marker, and first the pencil, and after the black marker, you have colors. Because if you take a time to look at the graffiti around, they are always very, very colorful. Very few of them, they stay just black. No, they are very colorful, because it's also a way to show that the art is there. So you take your marker, you go through each letter, and you begin to color. So I'm gonna just color because I want to give back to my students what they did, so I don't color for them. But I have mine somewhere. Vicky, where are you? I have mine here, so I'm going to play with. And the best way, sometimes you can use also crayon. On this way, I prefer to use marker because I know they're gonna stay, but with marker, it's taking time. You can also play with the color. This is all about your creativity. Here on my V, I'm going to put some red and pink. If the pink is working, yes, red and pink. So you take a time to color each letter and you can just have something very special. So this question about graffiti is, in some places, the city, they don't want the artist to come and to, so I don't want you to go to the wall of your school to try to make graffiti. Just you stay in my classroom, you stay with me, you draw on the paper. But what you can ask the school, and in some school I saw it from time to time, is to do street art. So you can not just doing graffiti, but you can draw things on the wall, that make a story. And I hope you will get the time to go to some places. And I think here, I'm not sure about the museum, but we can find some book about street art. But I have here this one. I found it in France, a book with a lot of street art from around the world, and you see the picture on the first page. This is made by an artist, and I'm sure everybody saw this art with President Obama on this. So it's very important to see that street art is also telling the story about what happened in the city, what happened in the countries. And one of the very, very, very famous street art person is called, everybody should know him, his name is Banksy. Banksy is, nobody knows his face. He looks like nobody never see him. But Banksy is going everywhere and drawing it's like a journalist. He's telling the story about what happened in different places in the world. This is the street art is really the art that is telling us who we are, where we are, what we're doing. And it's very important to know that, to see the book. And I'm not going, this one is with some of the picture I like, and that's the reason I bought the book. But what I'm saying is, you're gonna see in different places art on the wall. And the art on the wall, for example, when I walk in Harlem, I can stop sometime and see walls talking about jazz, about music, and you see the drawing. This is what we call street art. 8 or 9 years old, and he loves so much the graffiti, so we spend hours